Hey, OG, fellas can't see you. Hey, this guy. Gotta move, brother. So I'm out here at the Soweto Country Club with my brother, OG MOLEFE. He is a father, KHULUMA, just like myself. He's got two kids. He's got a son and a daughter, ne?
Yeah.
How old are they?
My daughter is 8, turning 9 in December.
Yeah.
And my boy turned 3 in July.
In July.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, we are brothers, we are friends, we love golf. But most importantly, we love our kids, dog, and we show it to the world.
Yeah.
We post them, we spend time with them. When especially with your daughter, I mean, you spend a lot of time with her because you want to get into the golf space and whatnot. How's fatherhood for you, dog? Like, how's it changed your life since you became a father?
Man, I think I say to a lot of people, like, there's two sort of spans of how I look at my life. It was pre my daughter being born,
yeah,
and post.
Yeah.
And when she came into the world, she absolutely changed everything about my life. You know, it stopped being about me and everyone else, and she was my number one priority.
Right,
you know?
right.
And what it did, I think it actually changed my life for the better, because everything I do, I now spend around trying to make the time to be with my kids, you know.
Right.
Yeah, there
was never time.
There was never time. I mean, and in the times we grew up, our moms and dads never really had the time to be hands-on.
They were hustling for us.
They were hustling for us to try and give us a better life.
2 jobs.
You know. So for Rona, it's a matter of now we've got the time.
Yeah.
We sort of know a little bit better, maybe.
Yeah, and we're exposed, Rona,
and exactly. So
that's the advantage. Well, my boys I'll talk to just now. Yeah, dog. So for me, you know, this whole AMATYMA movement, I started it because I wanted to really get into the gist of the conversation as MJITA, who are fathers, especially those that are quite public about their fatherhood and they're not hiding it and all of that. So I don't know if you've seen some of the episodes with MJITA. So I've been wanting to talk to you because I know it's quite a special, you know, topic in your life. How is it in terms of how you're raising your son and your daughter? Are you raising them differently because they've got different interests as a timer, or are you just using a one-size-fits-all?
To be honest, I've realized, like, my daughter's completely different to my son.
Yeah.
You know, my daughter always wanted to go with me. That's why you see she does a lot of sports.
Yeah.
That's how she picked up an interest in golf.
Right.
And for me, it's been like one of the best ways for us to spend time.
Yeah, sure.
Whereas my boy is kind of trying to find himself and
How
what he likes. He's 3 now.
Yeah,
so he's kind of still figuring out his own way. And even me, being a father of a boy, is now completely different to raising a daughter. But yeah, my daughter's been, I mean, such a blessing for me.
Yeah.
In teaching me how to calm down.
Yeah.
Slow down. You know, give her time. And all our papa, like she's a very outspoken.
Did you take yours or the mom's?
It's kind of like a blend, you know.
Because I'll part.
I get pappy, but you know what I mean. But and I say to her, she's more like my dad more than anything else. Like she's fearless, she's brave, and everything like that. But she's definitely opened my eyes to a lot of things.
Right.
And I'm just blessed that she likes sports, so
Yeah,
that kind
it
of
helps
becomes
you
our thing.
because you get to do what you love and still spend time with her.
Absolutely.
Is your dad still alive?
My dad is still alive. My mom is still alive.
Nice.
So
So we are blessed, you and I.
we are so blessed, dog. And like I said, I mean, we kind of grew up differently, and what I've loved seeing is their interaction with the kids.
Right,
You know?
right.
Part of me is like, Jesus, now I know this is so.
Exactly. Because now they're
You know,
patient.
now they're patient, exactly.
We'll pick this up because he has to go get his next shot. What's the distance? 101. 101. Hey man, I'm having a very interesting discussion with OG. Yeah man, we're talking about different things, so we're gonna pick it up. OG, you grew up ko Kagiso?
So yeah.
So untana ko kasi just like nah. Tell me something. How was the relationship with your father when you were growing up versus the relationship you have with him now?
It's completely different because we grew up in a different era where our parents were constantly hustling, trying to make a better life for us. So I didn't really grow up with my dad.
Right.
I grew up with my grandfather instead. You know?
Okay.
So for
his dad or
he's
your mom's dad?
He's
Okay,
yeah.
he's dead.
So for Natamalaka growing up, you know.
Right.
And I learned sort of everything from him. Even golf. My first introduction was through my grandfather.
Really? So your grandfather was a golfer?
He used to be a caddy. So that was my first introduction. So my dad and I literally only started building a relationship later in my life.
Right.
But it was also at the time where I think
Yeah,
we never really had the
exposed.
close bond, you know.
Nice.
It was only later on in life, I think once I lost my brother, that my dad and I then became close.
Sure. I want to pick that up after your shot. You got a pan? Good pan. So you lost your brother. Yeah. Eish, man, how was that in relation to the relationship with your dad? Because obviously he's lost a son.
Yeah.
But you're still alive, Wena. So did that also affect you guys in any way? That loss?
You know, as sad as it was, it affected our relationship, but in a positive way.
Right.
So my brother had cancer when he was 16.
Yeah. Sure, he was young, eh?
He was very young. So my dad sort of, stopped working.
Yeah.
To take care of him. And so they spent literally every waking day together for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
And once the cancer spread in my brother's body, then he was literally immobile and needed that help. So in a way, it was a good thing that my dad was there. So he spent like my brother's last days with him, and I think that hit him hard, you know. Then also made him realize that yes, I still have another son who's
only got 2 of you guys.
So it was
only
just the 2
boys.
of us, and it changed the dynamics of our relationships. We started talking more, opening up a bit more.
Right.
And I think that's how we became closer. Said that it happened after my brother passed away. Yeah. But I think it opened both our eyes.
Yeah, life is too short.
Life is too short.
Anything can happen to any of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So here I am. I'm watching you spending a lot of time with your girl, going to the range. She's quite a.
She's a better golfer than me, dog.
Man, and I'm envious. I'm like, I want girls to do that as well, you know. Because as parents, we always want the best for our kids.
Exactly.
We take them to the best schools. We want the best for them in terms of traveling as well.
Everything.
So do you think this AMATYMA movement is a necessary movement in terms of getting men, MJITA, to talk about what's really bothering them, especially because we've got GBV issues, we've got a lot of violence, and the perpetrators are men?
For me, Titi, it's so important, and I'll tell you why. Because what I've realized is is because of our past.
Yeah.
Where our dads never used to talk about stuff, where our elders never used to talk about stuff. Is like you can't be talking to kids about important things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so a lot of us carry that trauma with us unknowingly sometimes.
Yeah,
and then it plays out now in our adulthood, you know. And I find that once you found a movement of like-minded people, it's easy for you to talk. Now you might get titi maybe not time like an shell or filaka. And I didn't know that it affected me, but now that I've gone on to do the same thing, I realize just as I need help, you know. And you talking about it, you getting help, we're now sort of also helping the next generation, you know. So, or you might talk about something else that we've been through in 18 months of hell, where maybe all time you've lost your job. Now you kind of feel inferior. And then when you talk about it, in the same group who's scared to talk about it, but it's like, geez, I'm not alone. So these things are happening to all of us, where there's a safe platform for all of us to come together and talk about these things. And the only thing that can happen is for us to become better people.
Absolutely.
It's people who are non-judgmental. If you've got a problem, we realize there's a problem and how do we fix it. So for me, AMATYMA need to get together, because if we don't talk, if we don't try to improve, these things are just going to keep happening.
And we're just going to be passing on it on to the next generation, So I was having a conversation with Lebu M last week, and he said to me, this AMATYMA movement is important because we come in there all handicapped. We all have a handicap of sorts. We all need help in a space or area of our lives. Go ahead, take your Come, baby. Back to the first. To the other side. So I was saying that, you know, he raised a very important a part of this in the sense that, you know, we're coming there as handicapped, so we have no right to judge anyone for whatever situation or challenge they might be going through as a timer. And he then said to me, why are the guys going anonymous? That means there's no trust. But then also you kind of have to respect someone who says, listen man, I've got a personal issue that I don't want people to know that it's me, but I'm happy to share the issue. And for me that is more important than knowing who it is.
And that's the thing, right? Because like I said, we come from a history of not talking as men. It's hard for you to express yourself and tell people your problems. Especially when you have to share your shortcomings. You know?
True.
And I think it's only in time that we'll find the comfort to then say, oh man, this is exactly what it was. So a non-related issue, if you look at the world of sport right now, which is where I am, there's a lot of talk about athletes suffering from mental health. Now, it's not a new thing. It's been happening for ages. But previously it was never talked about, because if you come, you're a base sportsman, how dare you? You get paid
the
so
opportunity,
much.
The honor of representing your country. Like there's so much pressure.
What is it doing when you see, as a young girl, and Naomi Osaka coming out and saying,
I don't want to do this.
A multiple Grand Slam winner who's saying, I'm suffering mentally. Then it helps the younger person to be able to open up, you know.
True.
So we need the first steps to be taken.
I love that analogy.
And then people will then be able to open up.
Hi, let me go open up on the other side. I'll see now. So another important part of being the timer, in as far as we are concerned, from how we were raised, is that the tamala next door, tamala. Ankila ko kai kai. Tamala. He's got every right to go room and out pama if you're disrespectful. You can't do that these days. You touch my child, it's a case. Because things have changed, and also because of GBV and, you know, the intentions of other people, you cannot trust anymore. Like I cannot trust a stranger to reprimand my daughter. For what? You know. And now it's created that unnecessary bubble in life now, where no one is trusting of each other. That whole father figure has deteriorated into a perpetrator. That's what we are known as, and we need to change that. And it's our responsibility as public figures who have influence to change the narrative. You know, show up, be there. So when I, as someone who is also quite well traveled and quite busy, how do you balance work and being a father and being a husband.
You know, just talking about that is that I realized the one time how sad it was when I have to keep reinstilling in my daughter, if anyone else, even if they are my friend, who says they are coming to pick you up from school, don't go unless I've told you in the morning, you know?
Exactly.
And it's so sad, or if I can't make it to go pick up my daughter, but now I've told her not to go. Now there's those things, and unless we get to a point, and it's just, I mean, it's sadly the sign of the times we're living in,
that you can't even trust.
That you can't even
some
trust
of your own relatives
with your own kids. You know what I mean? Whereas or now, if it's school holidays,
that's it.
Go live with your cousins and aunts, wherever.
Holidays, girlfriend. Is it your shot, bro? Go for it.
And sadly, all of that has changed, and but also you can't not warn your kids against those things, because
this is how the world operates.
This is sadly how it is. But like you say, one father at a time, one uncle at a time. It's our job to try and change that, you know.
Essex. Whilst he's scoring, we keep having our conversation. So, dog, what do you think the future holds for fatherhood? I mean, once we are gone, I mean, okay, we're doing a bit to try and change the imbalances of the past, especially our parents, whatever they learned. And I just think every parent just wants to do better by their child. And you can see that in our parents. They're not well traveled, but we used to go on holidays, but not because we're more traveled, we go overseas with the kids. Why do you think the future lies for them once we are gone in the next 20 years or so?
You know that the tough part for us is trying to keep the balance of the past and the current, you know. I think there's a certain toughness and a fighting spirit that we had based on the way we grew up.
True.
We didn't have everything, but if you think about it, you never really realized or whatever, you know what I mean. And now we're trying to provide the best of everything for our kids. So I'm always wondering, like, are you doing too much? Are you still also opening them up to say, Ronaldo, you and I make sure that now and again. Yes, we have access to the best golf courses everywhere else, but you know. And I always try to keep them in touch,
very important,
because they need to realize that they are privileged to a certain point. But you know, for you to be where you are, where they are now, they need to keep working hard. But never forget, on the other side of the coin is certain realities that maybe they might not be exposed to. So we're living in a digital age, which the next 10 years could be completely different to today. The best we can do is give our kids the opportunities to excel within the world, you know, that they are exposed to, but also just try and keep it as real as possible for them.
This man is too wise, and I'm going to get more out of been in the game, bro. Yeah, Doc. So, what I want to know from you now, your dad is still alive, and we thank God for still keeping him alive, because that's an opportunity for you to absorb whatever from him that you haven't absorbed when you're growing up. It's an opportunity for him to now be a child, because the coin flips, The older they become like your kids now.
True.
They become needy.
You look after
when
them
you don't see them, like, and I'm seeing that with my parents. It's like, the roles are reversed. When they want something, they run to you. What is the one thing that you would like to say to your dad that you've never had an opportunity to say to him, and fortunately he's still alive for you to say? So you might not say to him personally, but he might see this and go, wow. What is that one thing? Anything?
So like I said, I mean, my dad and I only sort of started talking later on in life, you know? So the one thing that he explained, and it kind of, got stuck in my head as well, based on how he grew up, which was a difficult, time filled with a lot of obstacles and stuff, which
plus apartheid that they had to deal with,
Add that to it, you know what I mean? That I realized that his way of parenting in his head was the best. You know what I mean? Like, he was doing the best, but I then had to say to him, I appreciate what you did, but in my head you were doing it wrong. But what I have taken from him is that I absolutely appreciate everything he did, because I wouldn't be here if my dad hasn't.
Of course.
Didn't hustle for me to get through school.
Yeah.
Even when I knew there was no money there, the stuff he had to do to try and make sure that we were well taken care of. I appreciate all that stuff.
Right.
And if anything I've taken from him is that do absolutely everything that's necessary for you to provide for your family and make sure they never go to bed hungry.
That's true.
Yeah.
Have you ever told your dad you love him?
I haven't.
So the reason I'm asking you this is I was talking to my dad. Dog, I'm 42. I told my dad I love him for the first time when we were doing this first episode of AMATYMA. And it just dawned upon me, we were taught to be tough.
Yeah.
You know, you can't show emotion, you can't cry. And a lot of us, when I say us, I'm talking about our era, have never told our dads we love him because it's going to be like, So you must tell your dad you love him. Because he's still alive to hear it.
That's true.
There's a lot of MJITA out there who would love to have just that one opportunity just to say
once.
It doesn't have to be I love in English, but so I say to my dad, he doesn't say I love you too. So I have to understand it from a different era as well. You know, showing emotion is not natural for them, but it doesn't mean they don't love us.
That's
so where were we? We were talking about the love, you know, the dad. So I think you must tell him. You know, call him one day, make him uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then and then man, did you leave? Okay, no time. Time. Why are you doing this to me?
He's gonna say exactly that. Like,
he's like my dad.
He's gonna find a way.
No man, that issue, man. Did you manage to solve it? Or didn't you see this one?
Yeah.
But don't you find it interesting that, in as much as your own father has never told you he loves you, you know he loves you, right?
Yeah.
But he tells his grandkids,
my kids, absolutely.
when they talk on the phone, it's like, I love you, my girls, I love you, my boys.
Yeah. It's like, like sometimes you'd say to yourself, like, this is like a completely different person to the person that raised me.
They're softer.
But it makes me happy to see that. He's come out
your
of the
kids
chair.
are benefiting of the best of them.
I mean, if they go a week without seeing them, it's like something. It's
crazy. So what do your kids call your dad?
So they call my dad Papa.
Papa, yes.
And then my mother Granny.
Isn't that crazy?
Then, my father-in-law they call Kulu.
Yeah.
And my mother-in-law, she's late, but my son, my wife was pregnant with my son when she passed away.
Right.
But my daughter called her Madame.
But isn't that weird how they call your dad Papa, which I used to call my grandfather. My grandfather also is Papa and Kibita Tamalaka. I never actually call my dad.
I never call him anything.
It's such a beautiful thing though, because no one actually teaches you that.
Nah.
No one says to the kids you must call him. They
Papa.
decided. They call my father Khulu.
And it's not like they heard it from me, because that's not what I call him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Let me
chop a short thing. Yeah, man. So tell me, 20 years from now, your son and your daughter are watching this.
Yeah.
And you might still be alive, you might not, doesn't matter. What do you want to say to them 20 years from today?
I guess based on the conversation we just had, for one, I want them to know that I love them.
Yeah. I love that. Put it out there.
You know, they must know that I love them. And I absolutely want them to be the best versions of who they can be.
Yeah.
Remember, it doesn't take a lot to be a nice person. Always be respectful, and think about the next person and not just yourself. The rest, just go out there and experience the world. My daughter changes what she wants to be every second day. So
and that's important.
You know what? The world is your oyster. My job here is to just try and provide the platform for you to be the best that you can be. And I guess, the same for my son as well. So if 20 years from today, when you're seeing this, guys, Lizo Ragalerata, and I hope you're doing well. Yeah, that's it.
My man, thank you so much, dog. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Doggy.
That was so dope. That was so dope. Yo, what a beautiful, enlightening conversation I've just had with OG. It was actually quite nice to have a chat as we're still walking from one hole to the next. But what's coming out of all these conversations I'm having in AMATYMA is the fact that AMATYMA actually care about their kids, you know. AMATYMA want the best for their kids. And we all want to do things differently from how our timers did it. And I guess our timers also had a way of doing things differently from their fathers, our grandfathers. We keep the conversation going, Nana Kumatama. We keep it moving. We keep inspiring those that are watching. And at the end of the day, Ukuba timer is such a privilege. A privilege that you must never take for granted. Danko!
Don't believe a word they say. Turn around and walk away. Make your world a better stay. Listen to your daddy.